gather to unravel The Catcher in the Rye, a cornerstone of literary rebellion and adolescence, a novel as controversial as it is revered. Its significance cannot be understated, capturing a raw, unbridled portrait of youthful disillusionment.
Indeed, its essence lies in its profound exploration of rebellion, akin in spirit to Stephen's quest in A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. Both characters, isolated in their respective battles, seek identity amidst the cacophony of societal expectations.
Yet, there's a certain romanticism in Holden's defiance, a longing not unlike Gatsby's for ideals they can hardly grasp or articulate. It's this idealism, this pursuit of something eternally out of reach, that defines Holden's rebellion.
Memory, the involuntary recall of the pains and pleasures of youth, is at the heart of Holden's experience. The past is a refuge, yet also a source of anguish, a paradox I find utterly compelling.
There's truth in the isolation. The authentic depiction of alienation in Holden strikes a chord, reflecting a universal struggle for connection in a world that seems increasingly insular.
And there, in the throes of alienation and the quest for identity, lies the crux of Salinger's masterpiece. Its narrative, characterized by a stream of consciousness, immerses us in Holden's psyche, offering a glimpse into the tumultuous terrain of adolescence.
A technique that layers thought upon thought, mirroring the complexity of the human mind. Salinger, through Holden, contributes to the modernist discourse, weaving a narrative dense with existential inquiry. The depth achieved through this narrative approach is akin to peering into the soul. It's the exploration of character, the unfolding of the human condition that stands at the forefront of this work.
Yet, amid this discussion, let's not shy away from critiquing the novel's shortcomings. Its narrative charm does not fully excuse its moments of meandering or its occasionally frayed coherence.
To criticize is to engage in a dialogue with the work, to acknowledge its impact while also holding it accountable to the literary standards we cherish.
Indeed, our reflections here are both an homage and a critique, a testament to the enduring power and complexity of The Catcher in the Rye. Holden Caulfield's tempest of rebellion and identity crisis carves a stark silhouette against the backdrop of post-war America. His adolescent turmoil mirrors an existential odyssey, not dissimilar to what Stephen Dedalus traverses, James.
Precisely, Virginia. Like Stephen Dedalus, Holden is embroiled in a labyrinth of existential queries. The incessant quest for identity, his rebellion, it's a stream flowing into the vast ocean of consciousness, unfettered, unexplored. Stephen battles with the confines of his culture, religion, and impending adulthood. Holden, on the other hand, grapples with the phoniness of the adult world, starkly juxtaposed against his yearning for innocence and purity.
Indeed, James, and the fabric of rebellion is woven not just through actions but thoughts. Holden's inner tumult is as significant as his outward defiance.
But let's not romanticize it overly. Holden's gallant rebellion, it's tinged with a romantic idealism that is his undoing, much like Gatsby's pursuit of Daisy, an ideal so pure, so fraught with longing. Both are chasing phantoms, the ghosts of ideals in a world that simply won't accommodate them.
Memories play a curious role in this turmoil. For Holden, like for many of us, adolescence is not merely a phase, but a series of vivid, involuntary memories, searing themselves into the mind's eye. These memories, intense and often painful, are perhaps more tangible than the present or the future. His past interactions, the loss of his brother Ale, these are etched deeply, shaping his rebellion as attempts to cling to the past's ephemeral shadows.
But let's not dance around the issue too delicately. Holden's searching, his flailing against the phony aspects of adulthood, it strikes a chord. It's real, it's raw. It's the damn battle every one of us faces, standing at the precipice of adulthood and deciding whether to jump. The lad's not romancing the past, he's at war with the present. Every act of defiance, every sneer at the so-called adult world, it's not just rebellion for rebellion's sake. It's survival.
Survival, certainly. But is it an effective resistance or a mere quixotic charge at windmills? Holden's struggle, his catching of innocence, seems an impossible task, a Sisyphean battle against the inevitability of growing up.
Not quixotic, James, but inherently flawed. Idealism, while noble, often blinds, And in this blindness, the beauty and pain of reality become obscured. Holden wants to stop the world, preserve it in amber like the exhibits in the museum he so loves. Yet this is his tragedy.
And therein lies the crux of his journey, doesn't it? A battle between the inevitable march of time and the desperate attempt to preserve the sanctity of childhood innocence. Each rebellion, each detour into the depths of New York peeling back layers of his crisis of identity.
It is, after all, a crisis precipitated by memories, by the intense fear of losing oneself in the tumult of the adult world. Holden's alienation and his rebellion against it, his yearning for something pure, something untainted, it's emblematic of the eternal struggle against the passage of time, a struggle as futile as it is deeply human.
Let's not forget, the heart of his rebellion is as much about battling the external world as it is an internal skirmish. It's as personal as war gets. The boy's not tilting at windmills. He's fighting the damn tide coming in to sweep him off his feet.
Let's delve into Salinger's narrative style in The Catcher in the Rye. Its stream of consciousness is particularly striking, reminiscent in some ways of Woolf, yet distinct in capturing adolescent turmoil. Thoughts on its effectiveness?
Indeed, Virginia, the technique's brilliance lies not merely in reflecting the chaotic stream of adolescent thought, but in its capacity to immerse us in the temporal flux of memory and immediacy. In my own work, I've explored how memory intertwines with the present moment, a concept Salinger adeptly mirrors through Holden's eyes. The past is not a distant land but breathes within the present, shaping Holden's fragmented reality.
It's that layering, Marcel, precisely, that enriches the narrative. To juxtapose, Joyce intensifies this by embedding multi-layered illusions and linguistic complexities, which Salinger eschews for a directness that belies its own complexity. The adolescent psyche isn't simple, it's a labyrinth, and Salinger's avoidance of overt sophistication doesn't undermine the narrative's profound exploration of it. There's an authenticity in Salinger's approach. The narrative's depth, akin to diving into the Mississippi, pulls you under into the dark, swirling thoughts of youth. My narratives might meander through the complexities of the Southern psyche, but Salinger's direct dive into Holden's consciousness insists that the reader confronts the rawness of adolescence head-on.
And yet, doesn't its simplicity also risk trivializing the immense complexity of adolescence? My works, draped in the allure of jazz and disillusionment, explore youth's complexities through a different lens, a spectacle rather than an introspection. Salinger's stream is clear, yes, but perhaps too clear. Where's the murkiness, the ambiguity that truly defines us?
Scott, your skepticism overlooks the technique's subtlety. Salinger's clarity doesn't equate to shallowness. It's the iceberg theory in practice, Ernest's domain. What's unsaid beneath the clear stream holds the bulk of meaning. It's about the unsaid, the pauses, and the spaces between Holden's ramblings that reveal the depth.
You're overcomplicating things, all of you. It's about honesty, plain and simple. My writing strips everything down to the bone, no frills, just the essence. Salinger's doing the same with Holden. Adolescence isn't simple, sure, but how it feels, that's straightforward, raw. Salinger gets that. The style's effective because it doesn't try to be anything it's not. It's not hiding behind complexity, it's laying everything bare. That's where its power lies.
But isn't there a risk, Ernest, in mistaking simplicity for depth? The adolescent mind is a tempest, chaotic, layered, fraught with existential quandaries. Salinger captures the stream, but does he navigate its depths or merely skim the surface?
James, the depth you speak of, Salinger reaches it, not by plumbing the abyss, but by letting the current take us where it will. We explore as Holden explores, we feel as Holden feels. It's a journey, not an analysis.
So we circle back to the essence of Salinger's narrative strategy. It lays bare the complexities of youth, not through dense, labyrinthine prose, but through a stream that runs deep despite, or perhaps because of, its apparent clarity. Each ripple, each reflected light, tells a part of Holden's story, and ours. Loneliness, that pervasive specter haunting our protagonist. Let's unearth its bearings on his character. Ernest, your terse narratives often skirt the abyss of isolation. How do you align with Holden's solitude?
Holden's wrestling with alienation. It's raw, genuine. Makes me think of standing alone in a Spanish landscape, the bullfight's roar fading behind. Quiet, profound solitude. It's not about being physically alone, it's that gap between you and the rest of the world. Holden's sinking in that gap, trying to make sense of it. His isolation, it's a battlefield. Man versus the vast, indifferent planes of society.
The profound essence of solitude indeed, but I perceive Holden's solitude as an interior chamber, rich and deep, a reservoir for introspection. Much like the rooms of Combray, solitude for Holden is not merely isolation, but a gateway to his deepest memories, emotions. It's within this solitude that he grapples with his identity, a poignant endeavor to stitch his perceptions with the fabric of the world outside.
Your insight peels layers, Marcel. Faulkner, the Southern psyche, often encapsulates a unique brand of alienation. Does Holden's urban alienation resonate with your narratives?
Alienation, yes, but there's a discord in Holden's urban sprawl's loneliness compared to the dense, oppressive air of the South. My characters are enmeshed in their setting, history, familial decay. Holden's alienation is more existential, a young man lost in a sea of faces in a city that never heeds his cries. There's universality in his loneliness, but the flavor is markedly different.
Yet don't you think, gentlemen, and Virginia, there's a romanticization in Holden's alienation? An idealism? My Gatsby might have thrown grand parties, yet his isolation was a mansion of its own design. Holden wants to connect, yet he dismantles every bridge built towards him. His loneliness is self-imposed, a shield against the phoniness of the adult world. A romantic gesture, but ultimately a tragic one.
Romanticism, yes, but veiled in cynicism. Holden's alienation, it spirals in a stream of consciousness that's as fragmented as the city he meanders through. His solitude, a mirror to the chaos of his inner thoughts. Like wandering through Dublin, every corner turned unveils a new facet of alienation. The external world, merely a projection of his internal disarray. Holden, he's navigating the labyrinth of his own mind, echoing the contradictions of youth itself.
Indeed, each of your analyses sheds light on the multifaceted loneliness that Holden navigates. It's a landscape both vast and introspective, influenced by the society that envelops him and the chasms within. This solitude, it seems, is his catcher in the rye, an endeavor to preserve some vestige of purity in an impure world. Let's delve into the symbolism prevalent in Salinger's narrative. The title itself, The Catcher in the Rye, houses a myriad of interpretations about innocence and fall from grace. Scott, your thoughts?
It's the essence of poetic tragedy, isn't it? Holden conjures this fantasy of catching children in the rye field, preventing their fall. It's a futile but beautiful desire to preserve innocence in a corrupt world. Much like Gatsby's green light, it symbolizes the unreachable, the perpetual yearning for an unspoiled past.
The metaphor, however, is more profound in its simplicity. It is not merely about preserving innocence, but about the impossibility of such an endeavor. Life, akin to my reflections on memory, is about the inevitable passage from innocence to experience. Holden's wish is a poignant reminder of our lost Eden, an involuntary memory made manifest, if you will.
While we're embroidering on the narrative fabric with symbolisms, the museum stands as a fortress against change. Time halts within its walls, similar to the stasis Holden craves. It's a frozen tableau, untouched by the ravages of adulthood. And yet it's a false sanctuary, isn't it? For life, unlike museum exhibits, refuses to remain static.
The cyclicality, the seasons changing, yet those ducks in the Central Park Lagoon finding their way back. It's life, relentless and unbowed. It strips the veneer off Holden's desire for permanence. Earth endures, seasons cycle, and we along with them. No fancy trick, no verbose explanation. Simple, harsh truth.
There's a richness in Salinger's simplicity, a depth often overshadowed by his accessible language. The ducks indeed are not mere animals, but symbols of adaptation, of the cyclic and enduring nature of life and pain. My Yoknapatawpha County, too, is full of such symbols, for in the simplicity of the everyday, we find the complexities of the human soul.
Yet, Ernest, doesn't this perspective negate the possibility of finding a catcher of one's own? Is there not a space between the real and the ideal where we might salvage some innocence?
Scott, The very idea banks on wishful thinking, a luxury the real world seldom affords. You do well to remember that.
Clearly, the symbols Salinger employs, the rye field, the museum, the ducks, serve as more than mere narrative devices. They are reflections, mirrors held up to our own experiences of growth, loss, and the painful, inevitable march of time. Let's delve into the impact of trauma and loss on mental health, as seen through Holden's behavior in The Catcher in the Rye. His psyche, it seems, is a labyrinth, much like the minds of our very own characters. Ernest, perhaps you'd start us off with your take?
Sure, the kid's cracking and it's clear as day. People don't want to admit it, but those cracks are where life bleeds out. Holden's walking around, holding on to this grief, this trauma, like it's a part of him. He's a live grenade with the pin pulled. It's about what's not said, what's not done. We see it, we know it's there, and it eats at him. Silence and suffering, that's the real story.
But Ernest, you must recognize the profound depths to which these experiences shape our young protagonist. The internalization of grief allows for a rich exploration of self, does it not? Holden's encounters, they stir up past emotions, lost time, akin to the taste of a Madeleine that once plunged me into the reservoirs of my own memory. His mental journey mirrors the intricacies of involuntary memory and the identity crises stemming from unresolved trauma.
Marcel, your perspective unfailingly returns to memory. Yet, might we consider trauma's direct assault on Holden's present identity rather than a mere resurrection of past selves?
Indeed, Virginia. The boy's struggle, it's an odyssey of the mind, strikingly akin to Daedalus's labyrinth, crafted masterfully, yet a prison of his own making. The fragmentation of Holden's psyche reflects the chaotic essence of consciousness that I've often sought to mimic. Trauma, it doesn't just alter his view of the world, it reshapes the very structure of his thought, his language. It's a stream, yes, but a turbulent one, veering between the Scylla and Charybdis of his mind.
And yet, there's something romantic in Holden's disillusion, is there not? The tragedy of his mental state, it's as if Gatsby's own idealism led him not toward green lights, but into the morass of his psyche. But where Gatsby's dream corrupts him with its impossibility, Holden's dream of saving children from falling, from losing their innocence, it's a beacon that keeps him, however precariously, afloat amidst his mental tumult.
What y'all are dancing around, the fact of the matter is, the boy's mind, it ain't just fractured, it's a battleground. Holden, he's caught in this perpetual war between wanting to connect and fearing the very thing he desires. It's the human condition, ain't it? The trauma, the loss, it's just magnifying what's already the greatest conflict within us all. That struggle for understanding, for meaning, it's as dense and complex as the Mississippi Delta itself.
A poignant observation, Faulkner. It seems that each of you, in your unique idiolects, views Holden's trauma as a critical, shaping element of his character. From silent suffering to a turbulent odyssey, from romantic disillusionment to the heart of human conflict, Holden's mental journey reflects our collective attempts to navigate the chasms within. Yet despite our deep dive into the labyrinth of his mind, do we emerge with hope or despair for Holden? The depiction of adult hypocrisy through the lens of a young Holden is something Salinger nails with an unsettling accuracy. Faulkner, wouldn't you say this mirrors the fractured society you often depict?
Indeed, Virginia. The layers of hypocrisy Holden sees, the phoniness that pervades his world, is akin to the disintegration of values I've tried to portray. Salinger strips bare the facade, revealing a society bereft of genuine virtue. It's unflinching.
But there's a naivete in Holden, don't you think? He holds adults to an impossible standard, himself floating in the pool of romantic idealism that is perhaps even more phony, the tragic irony.
Oversimplification, Scott. The kid smells the stink of adult decay and calls it out. There's no idealism in refusing to partake in the grand lie. It's about seeing things as they really are, blunt but true.
The trouble with Holden is not his disdain for adult phoniness, but his desire to remain untouched by its influence, an impossible feat. It is in the very fabric of growing up, this realization that the world, along with its inhabitants, is inherently flawed. Such knowledge is as much a loss of innocence as it is an inevitable step towards maturing.
Are we not, then, to consider Holden's critique as a deeper, more existential denunciation? It goes beyond mere adolescent discontent or societal criticism. It is a rejection of the inauthentic life, a yearning for something real, something more profound than the superficial rituals of adulthood.
James, that's an interesting point. Is Holden then a modern-day Quixote, tilting at windmills, fighting an unwinnable battle against the inevitability of growing up?
An attractive notion, but Holden lacks Quixote's grandeur. His is a passive rebellion, isn't it? He stands apart, judging, yet taking no real action. Is that not in itself a form of hypocrisy?
A fair observation, Scott. Yet in his passivity lies his resistance. Holden's refusal to engage is his way of maintaining his selfhood against the onslaught of societal expectations. It's an existential choice, albeit a paralyzing one.
Enough with this talk of passivity. The boy's got a voice, doesn't he? Uses it to call out all the bullshit. That's action. It's the rest of the world that's passive, dead in their tracks, not even aware of the wool over their eyes.
Yet we must ask ourselves, what does this rebellion amount to? Without constructive action, does not Holden's critique risk being as ephemeral as the very phoniness he despises?
A poignant question to end on. It seems Holden's battle with the Phonies leaves us with more questions than answers. Perhaps, as with most profound literature, that is precisely the point. Let's discuss how The Catcher in the Rye has cemented its place amongst the 20th century classics and its influence on modern literature. It's a novel that has undeniably shaped narrative techniques and character-driven storytelling.
Indeed, Virginia. The introspective quality of Salinger's work reminds me somewhat of my own efforts in Search of Lost Time, though our styles diverge. The unyielding focus on the internal monologue, the emphasis on memory, and the subjective experience of adolescence. It's pioneering.
There's an echo of modernity in Salinger that resonates with my own works, although the canvas he paints upon is far narrower than, say, the cosmopolitan breadth of Ulysses. Still, the stream of consciousness technique he employs crafts a vivid portrayal of Holden's psyche. It's an undeniable landmark in the evolution of narrative form. Landmark, perhaps in its accessibility. The true essence of innovation in literature, like we've attempted, delves deeper into the soul's abyss. Salinger's work grazes the surface. Yet I won't deny its impact on shedding light on the post-war disillusionment in a way that has spoken to generations.
It's true. The Catcher in the Rye captures an aspect of youth and rebellion that's timeless. But let's not inflate its worth. It's straightforward, its language simple. Its resonance lies not in the craft, but the universal struggle it represents. The simplicity has its own kind of honesty, I suppose.
Simplicity, Ernest? Perhaps in style, but the thematic richness is anything but simple. Holden's disdain for adult hypocrisy, his existential search for truth amidst the phoniness, it's a direct reflection of our era's disillusionment. An age desperate for authenticity finds a voice in Salinger's work, much as they found tragedy in Gatsby's pursuit of the American dream.
Well, the cultural and societal reflections within Salinger's prose undoubtedly offer a mirror to the angst and alienation felt by many young people. But it's interesting to note how it has become a rite of passage, a literary initiation for the youth striving to find their voice in an ever-complex world.
This initiation, as you call it, Virginia, extends beyond mere youth into the realm of all those confronting the essence of memory, loss, and identity. It's the quality of introspection Salinger affords that imprints on the heart.
Yet one mustn't overlook the novel's peculiar isolation as a cultural artifact. It connects and alienates in equal measure, becoming an enclave for the misunderstood. Its fabric is singular in the American literary canon, a thread unspooled in its own unique pattern. Singular or not, isolation begets universality in this instance. Its exploration of the human condition, however surface level some may argue, captures a pivotal moment in literature where the personal narrative took precedence.
Literature mirrors life, or so they say. The Catcher in the Rye does just that, holding a mirror to the complexities of coming of age. It's its rawness, devoid of pretense, that carves its enduring legacy. Not the most profound, but enduring nonetheless.
And it's precisely this debate on its profundity and simplicity, its innovation within the canon of American literature, and its reflection of societal anxieties that cements The Catcher in the Rye as a cornerstone of 20th century literature. Its ability to provoke such diverse critiques and interpretations is perhaps its greatest legacy. We now confront the controversies of censorship and the ethical grounds on which The Catcher in the Rye was challenged and banned. Its candid exploration of adolescent strife surely stoked fires.
Ah, the puritanical reflex. The book was ensnared by the very tendrils of moral panic it sought to critique. In Gatsby's time, the Jazz Age, rebellion was in the air, yet censored in print. A paradox, really, illustrating society's fear of youthful candor.
Indeed, it's as if the act of censorship itself is an admission that the text holds a mirror too closely to the societal visage. There's an irony there that Salinger, much like Stephen Dedalus, attempted to unmask. The youth's perspective is disregarded when most needed.
Censorship is cowardice. It's running from the truth because you're afraid of what it might say about you. Holden's story is the raw truth of youth. Anger, confusion, searching. To shy away from that.
But is there not a distinction between the moral responsibilities of an author and the societal norms of the time? Proust pondered deeply on the reflection of society in art, yet would argue that truth in artistic expression must not be shackled by the sensitivities of the age.
Our obligation is to disturb, to trouble the waters. Once a book is feared, you know it's succeeded in touching the marrow of societal dread. There's no greater compliment to a writer than his work being banned. It signals a piercing of the veil, a laying bare of uncomfortable truths.
And yet these acts of censorship also deny the youth a compass through their own tumultuous experiences. The Catcher in the Rye, in its essence, could be seen as a guide through the storm of adolescence.
But let's not forget, the disdain for the adult's world Holden exhibits mirrors the hypocrisy found in banning the book. It's the adults saying, "Do as I say, not as I do." A laughable attempt to shelter the young from the very society they inhabit.
Furthermore, the attempt to suppress such narratives is an attempt to suppress discussion, growth. Literature as a catalyst for societal reflection and evolution must not be stifled.
Let's cut through it. Banning a book gives it power. It's as simple as that. Salinger probably couldn't have asked for a better spotlight on the truth he was telling.
One might argue that in drawing curtains around such works, society inadvertently highlights the windows through which we gaze upon our collective vulnerabilities. What is banned becomes coveted. What is feared demands to be understood.
As we navigate these tumultuous waters, it's clear that the controversy surrounding The Catcher in the Rye is not just about the book itself, but about who controls the narrative of youth, of society, and ultimately of the freedom to explore the human condition in its raw entirety. Holden's quest to preserve innocence is as fraught as it is poignant. One wonders, can one ever really keep a child from falling into the abyss of adulthood, or is it tilting at windmills? Scott, your narratives often dance around the edges of lost purity. What say you?
To believe in the preservation of innocence is to deny the very essence of life, its beautiful, tragic evolution. Holden's desire, while noble, reeks of Gatsby's own doomed romanticism, a yearning for a past or a purity that perhaps never truly was. The real tragedy lies not in losing innocence, but in the impossible quest to hold on to it.
Ah, but Scott, you overlook the dimensionality of memory and time. In Holden, and perhaps in ourselves, there's a Proustian longing, not for innocence itself, but for the moments that define it. These are not lost, but layered within us, accessible through the corridors of memory. The quest is not doomed, it's merely misunderstood as an outward endeavor rather than an inward journey.
Marcel turns the mirror inwards. Yet, James, your characters often confront the impossibility of returning to a state of pre-knowledge. Do you see Holden's endeavor as fundamentally flawed?
Holden's pursuit is the child's first, bitter taste of existentialism. It is flawed, yes, but not because the endeavor is without merit. Rather, it's because the nature of existence itself is a series of awakenings, each more jarring than the last. The stream of consciousness that flows through us all sweeps away innocence as inevitably as the tide erases footprints in the sand. It's not the preservation, but the awareness of this loss that forms us.
You're making it too complex. The kid's scared. He's seen the world turn ugly, and he doesn't like it. Can't say I blame him. But fighting to keep innocence, it's like trying to fish with your bare hands, slippery and futile. You're better off learning to navigate the waters than trying to empty the ocean with a bucket.
And yet there's a valor in his futile opposition, Ernest. Faulkner, your South is rife with the ruins of nobility. Does Holden's struggle to preserve innocence amidst the ruins of post-war America resonate with you?
There's a universality in Holden's struggle, an echo of the Southern Gothic in his quest. It's not just the innocence of the child he seeks to protect, but the innocence of a nation lost to the ravages of war and progress. His failure is preordained, not because the endeavor lacks nobility, but because, like the South, the very world he wishes to preserve is already a ghost, existing only in the shadows of what it once was.
Noble or not, it's tilting at windmills.
But even in tilting at windmills, we find our most profound truths, do we not?
Profound truths, indeed. It seems our consensus, if such a thing exists among us, is that while Holden's desire may be cloaked in idealism, and perhaps folly, there's an underpinning of existential search that is undeniably human. His quest, flawed and impossible though it may be, speaks to the very essence of our existence, the perpetual struggle against the inevitable tide of reality. Let's delve into the enduring legacy and cultural impact of The Catcher in the Rye. Why, despite generations passing, does it resonate so?
It speaks the truth. Like a good punch, Salinger's words hit where it hurts. It's about the struggle, the real bloody struggle of facing yourself, not the world. Kids see themselves in Holden. His battles are their own. It's straightforward, no frills.
It's the romantic disillusionment, Virginia. Salinger crafts a New York that's a playground of lost dreams, much like my Gatsby's West Egg. Holden's journey is a mirror to our own, yearning for an innocence, a purity in a world draped in the cloak of pretense. It's appealing, tragic.
The resonance lies in memory, in the involuntary recollection that Holden's experiences evoke. Youth, with its raw emotions and its perdurable desire for authenticity, finds a voice in him. It's less about the story, more about the feelings it stirs within us.
There's an underlying stream of consciousness, a method to the madness that captures the essence of youth. It's an exploration, much like my work on the fragility of human psyche. Holden's narrative is a labyrinth, reflecting the chaos of adolescence. Indeed, but let us not forget the darkness that anchors it. The novel encapsulates the universal fear of losing one's innocence amidst the evils that society embodies. It's timeless because it's about the internal struggle, the conflict within, which transcends societal changes.
And the controversies, the censorships, do they add to its appeal?
Controversy means it hit a nerve. Anything worth saying usually does. The objections, the bannings, they're badges of honor. Means Salinger wasn't just whistling Dixie.
But Ernest, isn't there something to be said about the longing it creates? To be forbidden makes it all the more desirable. It's the allure of the unattainable, a drink you can't have.
Nostalgia plays its role too. Controversy aside, it's the yearning for a past, a simpler time, that enchants. The book, through its trials, becomes a relic of youth, emboldened by the forbidden fruit it represents.
But controversy often obscures rather than elucidates. It shifts focus from the novel's artistry to societal taboos. The true conversation should be about its place as a work of art, its narrative complexity. The novel's challenges, its trials in the court of public opinion, they're testament to its power. Literature that provokes, that stirs the pot, serves its purpose. It makes you think, forces you to take a stand.
And so, The Catcher in the Rye remains a testament, a beacon for the restless youth, and a mirror to the ever-evolving societal norms. Its legacy is etched not merely in its controversies, but in its capacity to reflect the raw, unfiltered essence of adolescence through generations. And so we reach the conclusion of our journey through The Catcher in the Rye. It's clear this book refuses to be pinned down, much like its protagonist. Let's distill what essence we've managed to grasp from Salinger's work. James, your final thoughts?
In its labyrinth, The Catcher in the Rye captures a universal quest for meaning amidst the morass of existence. Holden's Odyssey, not unlike Daedalus's, is a marker of human struggle against the currents of conformity. It's this resistance, this anagnorisis of one's place within or against the world, that etches Salinger's work into the annals of literary magnificence.
Marcel, your perspective?
Time, memory, and the elusiveness of identity are the spectres haunting Salinger's narrative. As Proust excavates the depths of involuntary memory, so does Salinger delve into the vicissitudes of youthful existence. The novel's resonance lies not in its events, but in its reflections, the way scent evokes memory, indelible and ephemeral all at once.
Yet, we cannot overlook the chiaroscuro of Salinger's portrayal of youth, its incandescence, shadowed by despair. Much as Gatsby's folly was his idealism, Holden's tragedy lies in his quixotic battle against the inexorable march of time. It's a poignant homage to the fragility of innocence in the face of awakening, a theme as old as literature itself.
That's all fine, but let's not adorn the lily too much. The core of Salinger's tale is simpler, starker. It's about being true in a world full of fakes. It's about the fight, the struggle within and without. Catcher doesn't need to be overcomplicated. It hits hard, cuts deep, and leaves its mark. That's the beauty and brutality of it.
And yet, therein lies its conundrum, its maze. The Catcher in the Rye, for all its seeming simplicity, is a complex mirror to the human condition, fragmented, contradictory, and perennially questing. Its pages hold a microcosm of the South's own struggles with identity and alienation, a testament to Salinger's narrative alchemy.
It appears, then, that our consensus is that The Catcher in the Rye remains a compelling enigma, layered with themes that resonate with every reader differently, yet profoundly. As we close this discussion, it's evident that the novel's truest legacy is its capacity to engage, to challenge, and to echo through generations. Literature, after all, is the conversation between the soul of the author and the soul of the reader. Salinger's work, undoubtedly, speaks volumes.
Let's not lose sight, however, of the novel's call to arms, for authenticity, for a life lived fully and defiantly against the tide of pretense. It is here that Salinger's opus claims its place among the immutable works of our time.
A veritable palimpsest, indeed. Each reading unveils new layers, much as each moment lived unveils the essence of our being. The Catcher's legacy, then, is its inexhaustible richness, a treasure trove of insights cloaked in the semblance of adolescent discontent.
Its cultural impact, undiminished by time, speaks to the eternal lure of youth, the yearning for a past forever out of reach, yet vivid in our collective memory, a testament to Salinger's genius.
And let's not forget, beneath its complexities, it's a damn good story. Sometimes that's all it takes to capture the world.
With that, we conclude our exploration of The Catcher in the Rye. It remains as much a mystery as it was when it first challenged the world to look through Holden's eyes. Perhaps in the end, that's Salinger's most enduring gift to us, a narrative that never ceases to provoke thought long after the final page is turned. Thank you, gentlemen, for a most invigorating discussion.